Hello and welcome to Sailing Elsie, an adventure channel dedicated to documenting the process of getting myself and this boat ready to sail the world. My name is Seth, and I aim to earn your subscription today. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. Whoa. Another step. 222. Yo. Love it. Thank you guys. Those who know, know. Anyway, we're going to get back into something interesting. So, a lot of people do not understand how osmosis or reverse osmosis works. And I'm just going to give you an example and let your mind figure it out on its own. Right here, we have a pressure vessel. This is where the salt water goes, and this is where the unsalted water comes out. If I plug the other end of this and filled this with salt water, and then screwed a gauge onto there, and then if in the freshwater port I filled that with fresh water, what would happen is the osmotic pressure would suck, essentially almost like magnetically draw in the water from the non-salted side to the salted side, and the pressure would build by itself to whatever the osmotic pressure is for that particular salt water mix. So this would potentially come up to about 300 to 400, maybe more, psi of pressure without anything but the osmosis drawing the water through the membrane to the outer membrane. Very interesting that itself would build a ton of pressure. Well, not a ton. A ton would be, I guess, 2,000 or something. I don't know. Whatever, you get the point. So let your mind chew on that. So here's the osmotic pressure calculated. And this is local conditions here. Our local conditions are 33,600 parts per million at 60 degrees Fahrenheit equals an osmotic pressure of 377. Let's say we're in the South Pacific where the salinity is higher, 36,500, and the water temperature is also higher. Let's call it 80. Brings the osmotic pressure up to 426. So that's how that works, kinda. I'm only explaining half of it on purpose because I want your mind to work. So we got a few pieces in. We got the some flow meters, one for the effluent, the fresh water, and one for the brine, which will be the overflow or the bypass or whatever you want to call it. So I'll be able to measure up to a half a gallon of flow of fresh water and up to 5 gallons of flow of brine. I only expect to get about 0.3 to 0.4 gallons per minute of the fresh water, and this should be up between 3 and maybe a little bit over 4 gallons per minute of flow of brine. So we will see how that comes together as it comes together. But let's talk about motors, because motors is what I'm having issues with and what we're going to deal with in this video. So let me pull this up. Hang on. So this was the first motor I tried, a 2 horsepower single phase induction motor meant for air compressor or similar duty. Did not work with my inverter. It immediately tripped the inverter, which I expected would happen but hoped wouldn't. So that did not work out. And then in the last video, we attempted to get this motor started. Same horsepower as this one, but this is a 3-phase motor, and through the variable frequency drive, it should be able to start and run the pump. But if you were watching last week's episode, the VFD was DOA. So anyway, we did get a new one. So I got the replacement variable frequency drive. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in and see if it will start up and run on the inverter. I also did a bit more looking into things, and ChatGPT is great, but not perfect. And I was able to figure out that 2 horsepower might not be exactly enough to do all of what I want to do. When I was originally planning a Watermaker, I was thinking I would do a low output DC system where I could just run it after the batteries are charged and put a couple gallons in the tank. And then after talking to a couple people, they said, hey, that's great, but you can't necessarily turn it on and then go about your day. Say you go to town and go for a hike or whatever, you fill your tanks up, and then, say it takes 4 hours to get the amount of water you want. What you really want to have is a bigger system where you can get it done quicker. And I thought about that for a little bit, and I think that what I really want is both. But what I'm starting with is the larger system. I'm definitely going to have to retake that. This motor did not work. Single phase, draws too much amps. 3-phase, we're going to see if that works this time. I did a little research. I think I might need more horsepower. So I went to a 3 horsepower, but this thing is huge. Let me put it up next to the other one. Last time I plugged it in and nothing happened, so this time we've got some stuff. So right now I just have the power plugged in, and I'm going to go through the programming frequency. I'm not going to programming process. I'm not going to drag you guys through that because this is not a how-to. It's a how I do. Maybe when I'm done with this whole process, I'll do a how-to video on everything I've learned, but let's get these motors tested. So last time I didn't get this far. I know that's fuzzy in picture, but it's not for me. So yeah, it powered up. I went through the programming procedure. I checked everything through the internet. Pretty sure I got this thing set up so that this will come up to speed over a period of 15 seconds, which should keep the load on the inverter low enough so that it doesn't trip the inverter off or overload. So let's see if this works. You're seeing this at the same time I am. Here we go. Holy. Now that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So let's see. So this, I believe, is amps. 0.4 amps. 0.4 amps. I don't know. Let's see what happens if we stop it. It should slow down over 15 seconds as well. No. That just went to free spin. Alright, that's a setting I gotta change. But I'm gonna watch this amperage again when it fires up. Alright, so here we go. Still spinning. I'm gonna wait for it to stop. Start. Two, 3 amps, 0.3. Oh. baby. This is giving me real hopes that this one will start. This is amazing. I love it when stuff turns out the way or better than I thought. This is amazing. I'm so pumped about this. This is real. Okay. Let me do a little more investigating. I'll be back. To give a quick rundown again, this is all on a boat. It's powered by batteries into an inverter. Does the inverter provide enough juice to get this big, huge 3 horsepower motor started? I don't know. Just wired it up. It ran the 2 horsepower version. I reprogrammed this to, instead of take 15 seconds to bring this up to speed, to instead take 3.5 seconds, and it worked fine. I'm going to leave the settings the same, see if this will come up to speed in 3.5 seconds without tripping the inverter. Let's give it a go, see what happens. Yo. Okay. Nice and quiet. Did it no problem. 3.5 seconds up to speed. So this one's running about 0.67 amps at no load. This one was about 0.4 amps. That, I guess, kind of scales. It's a third more horsepower, so a third more. That is amazing! Oh, let's see what happens. Turn it off. Try it again. Oh, one more time. I love this. All right, well, let's look at it through the inverter app and see what that looks like. I'm a little bummed out that this app doesn't seem to indicate instantaneous power, but this is the inverter app for the 3000 watt inverter. I'm going to turn the motor on in 3, 2, 1. Showing an output 256.8 watts with the motor running. Let's let it update one more time. Showing it's only consuming 2.26 amps. On the not the inverter, on the variable frequency drive, it's still showing right around 0.6 amps, and we'll do some math in a minute and see how that compares to each other, because the 0.6 amps that the variable frequency drive is indicating is 3-phase power, and the 2 amps that the inverter is indicating is single phase at 120. All right, stop. This is the Victron app, and this one should act and respond a little more real time. So let's go to the smart shunt here, and it is showing that we're currently drawing 184 watts, and that's basically just the inverter running my computer and little things, and then the refrigerator and a couple lights. So let's flip this on and see what we get. So here goes the 3 horsepower motor. 1, 2, 3. Steady current, 35, 36 amps. Minus whatever it started at. The footage again and just pulled some very basic numbers off of it, and here's what they equate to. So to calculate three-phase power at 220 volts, it is the square root of 3 times voltage times the current times the power factor. So the square root of 3 is 1.732, 220 volts. The 2 horsepower motor drew 0.4 amps. And the power factor, I'm just using 9 for now. And with no load, 137 watts. The bigger 3 horsepower motor drew 206 watts. When we ran the app for the inverter, the current went up about 2 amps when I turned the motor on. To calculate watts at 120 volts single phase, it's volts times current times the power factor. Since I don't really have a power factor, I didn't use one. So this is what I did instead. So we have volts times 2 amps is 222 watts. The motor was 206. So that means the power factor of the VFD, the variable frequency drive, and the efficiency is causing this difference here. So I just wrapped it all up and called it VFD efficiency. It's basically 206 divided by 222. So then we tested the actual output at the batteries. When this was drawn 222 watts, I saw about a 20 amp increase at the battery output, and that's 265 watts. And that difference equates to, oh, by the way, 12 volt power. There's no power factor involved, and it's just volts times current equals watts. Anyway, the inverter efficiency is about 84%, which is a little low. And basically it's because it's drawing so little power. Just having the inverter on draws power. So unless you're drawing more power through it, the efficiency is kind of low. So I expect this number to be closer to 90 once I actually, maybe even 95, once we actually put a load on that motor. So anyway, that's it. All right, so I'm curious if the synthesized three-phase output on this is clean enough to read with kind of a cheapy voltage meter. So let's fire this up. And I'm just going to go phase to phase here. Get in there. One-handed. Chop, chop. I'm getting 225. 225. Let's go next set. 225. And the third. Phase to phase. 224. That's pretty good. And we're running about 0.6 amps. I love it. If you made it this far through the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up.